II was the big one. It produced many heroes. One of them was Joe Foss, United States Marine Corps. He was the first fighter pilot to equal the 26 victory score of Captain Eddie Rickenbacker in World War I. For his exploits, Joe Foss was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. During the post-war years, he was elected governor of the state of South Dakota, became a brigadier general in the Air Force Reserve, and served as president of the American Football League. Veterans Administration medical centers care for sick and injured veterans. 40 years after World War II, the remembrance is still vivid in places like this. And Joe Foss still remembers. He visits the veterans and talks with them. The following are excerpts from one of these conversations, which may be of interest not only to older veterans, but to the younger men and women who have served their country.
I took 2 years of ROTC, but in the end, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps as a private. And then I was a private until the fall of 1940, and then I made cadet, which is one notch lower than private. The privates were telling us what to do. And then, after in 1941, then I got my military wings. I had known how to fly prior to the time that I went into the Marine Corps, but I never told them that because one of my old friends had told me that those instructors will make fresh meat out of you if they think you're a smart guy. And so when my instructor told me this is a stick and this is a rudder, and so you push these things to make the tail move, and I just said, yes, sir. I had 300 and some hours at the time, but I didn't tell him that. Since 1942, I've been a well-known character because in 1942 was the year that I became a Marine ace. An ace is someone that's knocked down 5 enemy aircraft. And I was the first individual to equal Captain Eddie Rickenbacker's record of World War I, which happened to be to knock down 26 enemy aircraft. When someone's shooting at you, well, it always gets your attention. And I happened to have been shot down 4 times. And I would say the first time I got shot down didn't alarm me any more than the last time. The first time that I was shot down, that was immediately following, after I'd shot down, the first plane that I shot down. It seemed to upset this old bird's buddies, and they all came after me. And I'd read in a book that if I dove straight down full throttle, and a Zero tried to follow me, that the wings would come off. Well, whoever wrote that was a fiction writer, because the wings didn't come off that guy, and when I was going straight down, they were pumping the lead into me, and as I recall, there were 260-some bullet holes in my airplane. I never knew whether that was where they went in and came out counting 2 or just where they went in, but somebody told me. I didn't count them. The airplane quit because they hit the oil cooler, and the engine froze and caused slight vibrations, and they chased me right, and I made a dead stick landing. Some of you may have been there, on the fighter strip next to Henderson Field at Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands. Well, right at that time, the thought ran through my mind, why did I ever leave the farm? As I sat there in the airplane, parked up in the trees, I rolled to the end of the runway, and when I came to the end of the runway, I couldn't stop because the flaps wouldn't work. I was dead stick. I kicked it, and I rolled up and stopped in the palm trees and hit the only row of palm trees that didn't have munition or trenches or personnel or oil stored in. Now, the next time that I probably got more excited than any other was when I got shot down and didn't make it back to a home plate, and that's when I was shot down off the island of Maleta. We were going out to attack the enemy fleet as they were coming in, and we ran into a group of Zeros on the way and eliminated those. Lost one of my men on that battle, and then moved on out. And we were going to be the decoys, come on up over the enemy fleet at whatever the ceiling was, and I think it was about 12,000 feet, somewhere in that area. And as we popped out of the clouds and saw the enemy fleet, I was off to the left, and my tail end Charlie, a chap named Oscar Bate, was in right echelon at the end of the flight. So I said, "Take her in, Oscar," and he led the attack in. And of course, here I see an enemy aircraft up there, right? And I figured I'd get that one, and I misjudged on it, and it was an observation plane of all things, and I overran it. And as I went by, as close as almost as I am to you folks here, why, the rear gunner stapled me real good along the side and almost hit me in the head. I saw that when the bullet started hitting, and there was enough space so my head went between them. That's what happens when you have a small head. And of course the plane quit, and then started running. Quit and started running again. And I pulled the throttle back, shove on start, and the starts and stops kept getting closer and closer. I went into the clouds, and when I popped out of the clouds, I saw an island, and I glided in toward the island, and the thing finally quit, and I made a water landing, sunk with the airplane, and my entire life flashed by me as I was drowning in that airplane. And then I came up floating, got up out of there, floated up in my life jacket. I don't know how to swim. And I was out there 5-6 hours before, and it got pitch dark. In the meantime, it was raining. And all of a sudden I saw something coming right at my head, and I pulled myself under the water, and it passed over me. What it was an outrigger canoe, and I went between the canoe and the outrigger. And I tried to see who it was, and he looked like the enemy to me, sounded like the enemy. I couldn't see very well because I pulled myself under the water. And then I listened, and all of a sudden, it was a few minutes later, I heard a voice softly say, "Let's look over here," you know, in a limey voice. And I let out, "Yeah, right here." And the next thing that I knew, there were several war canoes around me. And they had kerosene lanterns down in the bottom of them, a few of them, and I could see these people. They were lovely looking people. They were the natives there, and then all of a sudden a hand reached down, I grabbed it, and that was the hand of Father Dan Stivenberg. They say, "Well, how'd you stay alive during the war?" And I say, "Well, the Lord wanted me to be alive. He carried me. But beyond that, if it wasn't for those men that kept my airplane in good shape and kept feeding me every day, and well, I wouldn't have made it very long." So freedoms that we have in the United States are far above any other spot on the face of the earth. And I've been in most of the countries the world around. And for the most recent job that I had, as far as travel was concerned, was working for an airline where we went to 74 different countries. And I've traveled in all of these countries, plus a lot of other countries that we didn't go to. And you cannot really realize how fortunate you are to have been born or to come to this country and to be able to live here. The freedoms that we have are so far above and beyond what we have any place else on the face of the earth that there is no comparison. You can spout off all you want, and of course we do have problems. There's no argument about it. There is no place on the face of the earth, at least that I'm aware of, that you do not have problems. But we have fewer problems here than any place else. And so a veteran, see, if it were not for veterans, I don't care what war you were involved in, the people that don't like our way of life would have taken us over.
World War II was the big one. It produced many heroes. One of them was Joe Foss, United States Marine Corps.